My name is Kamil Szczeciński and I would like to tell you about iteration 1 of GitLab cells, what we've been doing for the last two milestones when we decided to share admin area settings between different cells. You may be asking, what is cell? Cell is, according to our blueprint, is a set of infrastructure components that contains multiple top-level namespaces that belong to different organizations. The main differentiating factor is like the cell is self-sufficient. You may think about the cell like a complete GitLab instance running that has its own database, it has its own web server, side key, Redis, and every other component. As part of the iteration 1, our goal was like to share some settings that are currently stored in the Postgres and some other data that are stored in the Redis. So any other cell that was added would be able to fetch the data directly from cell 1. And this is exactly like the architecture that we end up as of now. Basically, cell 1, you may think about the cell 1 as a gitlab.com, basically everything existing, like a big GitLab. And you can think about the additional cells, like additional cells that are provisioned, that fetch relevant data that they need from the main cell, the cell number 1. I'm gonna be presenting exactly what we've been doing on preliminary change to GitLab Compose Kit, where you can provision easily many cells and run them concurrently with main cell. We initially were thinking about sharing only a very simple table application settings, but in the end we end up to share significantly more than that. We figure out to make it like a word file demo. We had to share appearances, licenses, broadcast messages, and application settings. On today's demo, I'm gonna show you how I am provisioning 3 different cells and setting broadcast message and some appearance that it's being shared between all of these cells. Per this diagram, you can see that like we're gonna be fetching application settings, license, appearance, and broadcast message from the cell 1, which has like this shared PostgreSQL database. But cell 2 will have its own set of the user and projects. So we're gonna try to change admin area settings to see that they are populated. But secondly, I'm gonna try to show you also that I can create a group on cell 1 and cell 2. And these groups will not be shared between cells because they do not share database containing groups. Okay, let's start first with starting a GitLab for the cell 1. While it is happening, I will start provisioning cell 2 with creating new development environment. With that command, I'm gonna be provisioning a new database, everything required by this cell, but some Postgres table will be fetched from the cell 1. As you can see, GitLab Compose Kit is starting new Postgres, new Redis, new Gitali, and right now we try to connect to Gitali in order to provision a new database. Great. So we did create a new account. It is enough for now. We don't have to provision further. Let's do the same for cell 3. And while cell3 is being provisioned, I need to force somehow to share the same root account, even though users table is not shared today between clusters. But since we are sharing Redis sessions, as long as encrypted password and user ID and username are in sync, which is like the case for this GitLab setup, they can actually, like, session cookie can be shared between these GitLabs. So what I'm gonna be doing now, I'm just gonna update root with the same encrypted password and disable password expiry to not have to change this password further. Great. So now I can start web interface for the cell number 2. While it is happening, let's now wait for the cell 3 to provision, and let's do the same with updating root user. Okay, our cell 3 is also provisioned. Now let's update root user. It is updated as well. Let's start web interface, GitLab raise Puma for cell number 3. While it is starting, let's now just simply go to GitLab. This cell is gonna be running on different ports. The cell 1 is gonna be running on the port 3000. Cell 2 is gonna be running on the port 3001 and 3002. As you can see, we are right now logged in the cell 1. Let me refresh cell 2. Since I'm already logged in the cell 1, the cookies are being shared, and since Redis is shared, my session to root user is also shared. And I'm here on the cell 2. Let's see what happens with the cell 3. Great, we are also have cell 3 running. Let's now go to admin area and change some messages. We're gonna add, hi, this is a message from web cell 1. What we are expecting here is like that this message is actually being present on cell 2 and cell 3. We have this message on the cell 1. Let's now check if we have this message on the cell 2. Great, this message is also present on the cell 2. Let's now check that this message is present on the cell 3. Great, this message is also present on the cell 3. Let's do the same for another change, which is appearance, where we can add a footer message. This is footer message from cell 1. We can save this information. This is what is present. Let's see. Okay, this is also present on the cell 2. I'm just gonna now go change this message from cell 2 because this is shared. I'm gonna write footer message from cell 2, update appearance, and basically this is gonna be also updated across cells. As you can see, it's like the same was updated. However, there are only like these few tables that are shared that I mentioned, like appearance, license, broadcast messages, and application settings. So any other change that I make on this cell is not really shared. Let me show you that by, for example, editing my root user. I'm just gonna rename myself to be Kamil Szczynski. So as you can see, even though I have my full username here, if I go to try to edit my profile on the cell 2, this information is not shared yet. This is something that we are planning to do as part of the iteration 2. This is the same case for the iteration for the cell 3, that each of these databases, each of these cells, they have a separate user table, and only those mentioned tables are actually shared. Now, if I simply go to create a group, this is exactly the same case. The groups are not shared. So basically, it also means that like group IDs, since they are not shared as well, they can produce a conflict. Group created from cell 1, create group. Great, our group was created, and now let's do the same on the cell 2. Group was created as well. You can of course do it from the cell 3. And basically, even though these groups are created separately, they are not really shared across GitLabs. I can only see groups that are local to this particular cell. So this is really like what we've been doing as part of the iteration 1. It's pretty much complete. We can read the shared settings from cell 1. Iteration 2 will simply try to implement user can create a group on cell 2, where actual user, exactly the thing that I showed with the root account where I edit my profile, would also be reflected the same way as I've been showing you with changing my profile, with changing appearance or broadcast messages on cell 1. Thank you very much for your attention. That's it.